Today, I'm going to be capturing some thoughts on the most basic human needs, categorized into 6 fundamental groups, and how the understanding of this phenomenon alone has played a major role in how I perceive the world, how I create, and how I actually, in reality, end up experiencing both my own creation and everything else. So this begins with Abraham Maslow. This begins with him as a psychologist, as a famous psychologist actually from the United States, who came up with the idea of the basically hierarchy of human needs. And I, after considering that, I came across Anthony Robbins' 6 basic human needs, which is essentially a take on the Maslow's understanding of the human needs, but a little bit more polished. And I kind of like it. So it basically stipulates that every action that humans take or not, which is still kind of an action really, because by the virtue of choosing not to commit to any action by just sitting or being or sleeping, we are still choosing to do something. To make a decision to not do anything is still doing something. Very important. So, yes, the 6 basic human needs. 4 of them are actually certainty, and then the uncertainty or variety, which is the opposite of certainty. And then there's significance, and then its other end, which is love and connection. And there is 2 more core and fundamental human spiritual needs of all of us as well. Those are growth and contribution. So practically speaking, since humans only make decisions based on emotions, which is true, science already knows that, and we all know that. We only make the decisions when we are most emotional about the subject. Otherwise, we just tend to put it on the back of the barbecue, until the moment where we are emotional enough to make a decision about it, which, by the way, is not a good thing, note to self. So the next thing that I could think about that is absolutely of significance in this conversation is that we're at all times trying to experience different parts of those 6 needs. Now, in some parts of our life, we need some of them more than the others. It would become more dominant. And hopefully that happens by choice, as to figure out which ones are going to be serving me to get me to where I need to be. And those are the needs that I want to cater to the most. However, as with most NPC or, just people on the program, people on the loops, people in the habits, just caught in that reality, created reality, subjective reality, thinking that is life. As long as that, such as my old self, were all just not understanding these, there's no way that we would be able to catch them. So here is my own note to self of how I progressed to be able to now catch what needs I'm trying to serve. Well, what needs of mine, that is. So let's go back to the 6, certainty. Certainty. Everybody almost on this planet wants certainty of something. That is very important, to know that something is secure, is constant, is just there. That most people want certainty of health, certainty of wealth, certainty of some sort of an income, certainty about having a roof over the head, having the certainty of food is going to be there at the end of the night. And again, for a lot of humanity, those are still not certainties. Those are things that they are uncertain about. So therefore, to have those things, that whole list as a certainty by the virtue, is just so many blessings already not counted, which goes back to the conversation of gratitude we were having the other day. And most of us in the West, we are having like first world problems. Like I spilled some coffee on my clothes that just ruined my weekend because it was just a brand new one. That was a brand blah blah. Those old patterns of mine were destructive. The patterns of not recognizing other patterns of which needs I was trying to actually serve to of mine, those were not constructive. So certainty is definitely a need everybody seeks one way or another. In some departments, for example, love is another certainty a lot of people seek. External love, that is. Uncertainty and variety. If things were all certain and if everything was perfect and nothing was changing, after a while you would get bored out of your mind. So everything needs to change. That's why we always want some certainty while still being precautious about our certainties. And then significance, that's another important one. When we do things just because, just to get noticed, just to get accepted, just to get positively talked of, the proud, the joy of the tribe, the family. And then there's connection and love that are obviously the intimate ones, the friendship, social, our needs to connect socially and seek love. And then our growth, which is, just to lifelong learning, the pursuit of mastery, learning to teach anything. Like it's just, you grow to a level where now your next one are able to contribute from now your dedication to whatever you're grown in. Which is where it gets very beautiful, because when I started looking at the most successful people in the history of humanity, they were all focused on those two the most, which were growth and contribution. It's a little note to self that all the great people focus on these the most. And that is how the formula of greatness is actually probably having some patterns that we're finding slowly. And by the way, on the record, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, that book is being the playbook for getting rich. And that is not only in money, but rich literally in every sense. That book has been the Bible for anybody who wishes to become greater and to grow and to create consciously. So always an amazing read. So many levels to understanding it. And yes, that's why it never stopped being a top seller in the world of business and self-development for the past almost 100 years that it's been out. One of the longest running prints. And with that said, this episode comes to an end. Thank you for being.